Hello, it's Nicole here. I just want to let you know that this is part 2 on YouTube of our Love is Blind recap with Sabiyah Broderick of episodes 7 to 9. If you haven't watched the first part, I highly suggest it. We start the Ramses and Marissa conversation. We talk about Stephen and Monica, all that good stuff. And now, Ramses and Marissa, and going on to our next couples.
Woo! I was just like, ma'am, do you like your daughter? Because, like, why are you talking like this? Like, what is happening? I didn't like her energy. I'm like, I don't know this lady's story. Marissa done already said she needs therapy. I'm like, clearly, because she's coming in hot. I don't know. It was a bit much for me.
Yeah, I think that Marissa's mom, I give her some credit for sure because there are some things we know about her, right? I believe she might have been military as well. Or I think Marissa definitely said, my mom was like, so if you're going to make something of yourself, you should go into the military because they were just so poor. Like, yeah, I don't know if she was also in the military, but that's like a big reason why Marissa was. And then obviously her mom is a strong woman, but obviously her mom might have been tied to the Mormon church at some point and then had to get out of that. Going from the Mormon church, that's like your only way in to heaven is to get married and pop out a bunch of babies, to I don't think marriage is forever. So let's forget all that. I'm like, this woman has been on a journey and I'm here for it. I'm here for that. She is absolutely jaded and traumatized from poverty. All the siblings talking about their past is like, yeah, this is giving all context. And then we get back to Ramses and his politics and stuff, and Marissa says, I want to be a billionaire. He's like, billionaires are unethical. Millionaire. This is all like a trauma response. And like, it still doesn't, it's not excuse, but also like Ramses, you're still literally surrounded by all these beautiful Black people. Black women mostly were talking in this conversation and what they had to deal with. It's like, we need nuance. And especially you, sir, who all of a sudden you're so liberal until it comes to the condom conversation. How that work? You think that we need to be bullying's not okay. Everyone needs to pull their fair share, right? Like but how are you then as this, I would assume, sex positive man being like, but I don't feel good. Can you go on birth control? Ew, are you Johnny?
Truly. Are you
Grow up. These men have gone too long with this expectations because they are so quick to throw out birth control. Guess what? Condoms are birth control.
They are. They're one of many forms of birth control. So
Imagine. It has to feel good. If you were as good and hot as putting it down as you two were making it seem, a condom ain't gonna stop no show. No. I'm sorry.
And there's not one universal type of condom. We're in a time of the 2020s where there are so many different types of condoms, ribbed, like warming, like all the things.
But that's the thing. It's so obviously not about the condom. These men are so entitled to having it their way. And they mostly have been able to get it their way. So why do they expect any different? I hope we all come to a strike against these men. Straight women. I know it's hard because you only got that option, but at the Black Bi Reality podcast, let me tell you something about bisexuality. We ain't giving these men no more babies if they can't handle a condom.
Right.
You said free Palestine, sir. You goofy self. You said free Palestine, and the next breath, American. Grow up. And you just
See, but Ramses is like very flower child, very
yeah.
like I'm not gonna say I don't feel like he lives in complete fantasy, but I
No.
do feel like his ideals are skewed to one side of the spectrum
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, just like very hyper awareness, hyper flower child, hyper health, hyper this, and that's great. People aspire to be that way, but also everybody won't think and act and feel like you when it comes to certain issues,
Well, first of
So,
all, he's not
yeah.
flower child about health because he can't. He can't be asked to use a
Yeah,
condom.
the condom situation was
You
it was definitely a smoking gun as far as like his. That's okay. This
you
is like,
cannot you cannot down this woman. Like
yeah, it's double standard. Like
he
he's going back and forth.
he tried to like make her feel like a hypocrite, which honestly all of us as humans are. You
Hmm.
once you get comfortable with the fact that you are a hypocrite in
It's
some
possible,
way,
and sometimes you're not even aware of it.
and like
Like.
and Marissa is trying, she's learning. This
Hmm.
man though, I feel like he knows better. At least if you're going to talk about all of
The
this,
awareness stuff and blah blah blah.
you
Yeah.
can't bring up someone's health and be like, but you should be on birth control. I won't. And this needs to feel good for me. It actually doesn't need to do anything. You are not
Yeah.
owed. You're not owed that.
Every time I like think I like a man on Love is Blind, it's like literally the next thing is like, no, you don't.
No, you
Like,
don't.
no, you don't.
No,
Actually,
you don't.
not to say that humans have to be perfect, but y'all be getting on my damn nerves. Because what are we doing here?
Let's go over to Hannah and Nick because I have some different takes this week.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
even with them, like it just seemed like Nick would have like self-sabotage moments too, where it
Yes.
was just like
Yes.
out of nowhere, now he's riding the duck with some random girl in Mexico. It's like,
Yes.
if you don't get your behind off that duck and go, like, what is this?
I
Like,
was
you know what I'm
team
saying?
him riding the duck. It's a honeymoon. It's a honeymoon.
Oh
But
God,
let's
yeah,
move
but
on from that because these two
uh,
in Cabo, right? They have
yeah.
that big fight. Hannah
Hmm.
supposedly wrote these bullet points. She called Nick delusional. Da da da. So they both have their homework.
I love Hannah, by the way. She's so
Yes,
funny.
she's hilarious. So she is they had their notes. That's what they're talking about. And Nick
Right.
says he needs to work on thinking about things before he says them.
Yes.
I'm not really sure that's his issue, but it is a
Mm.
task. It's something to always keep in mind. Hannah
Yeah.
says that she needs to work on being less bitchy,
Mm.
and be more patient with Nick.
Mm. Okay.
I do
Yeah.
think you need patience if you're gonna be with
I
this man who still lives at
yeah.
home, doesn't know how to boil water, like
That's
what's going
see, and that's what I'm
on.
saying. Like I feel like her need to have patience really is because he is so immature. It's not
Yes.
because she lacks patience. I think that she is a very patient person. I mean, she's put up with a lot with this guy so far, I'm not gonna lie.
Hmm.
Um, but because she is so, like she was saying, I'm overly independent. It's my way or the highway usually. I feel like he is so, I don't know. He just comes across as like your kid brother, that you just want to
Hmm.
like beat up on and like be fun with, but you would never date. And so I don't know, like it's unfortunate, that Hannah ended up in that situation. Definitely glad that she's not with Leo because that would have been,
Look,
you know.
then we have this. They have their apartment, and Hannah's trying to talk about splitting chores. This man still lives at home. So I think
Mm-hmm.
she's being a little bit realistic about where this man actually is at.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
trying to tell him, look, I have expectations.
Uh-huh.
can Nick rise to the occasion of walking the dog maybe in the morning and taking out the trash? He said he cooked. He said he had a pool table. And the pool table's in storage.
In his parents' basement.
Yes. Now these episode drop, she did get confronted about her lying on that man's height, because he's like, I'm right here. And then she had to try to go, but the wingspan. And it's like, you are such an older sister to a brother, because she was about chest to chest with this dude.
And that's the thing, is she don't take him serious. No. You know, I'm like, you do not take this man serious. And also, why are you playing games acting like you about to marry? He's not. But that's my thing. He ain't serious. You shouldn't take him serious. But I'm like, girl, you know you don't want to marry this man. Like, be so for real right now. Not you wingspanning your man right now in front of your brother. What are we doing?
Actually, that might be my chaotic bisexual moment, because I feel like, I don't know. I feel like the playful competition is giving like tomboy vibes. It is friend zone. It is friend zone vibes, but it's giving a little queer in that, in a way. But so they're talking about splitting the responsibilities.
Kudos to Hannah and Monica for being emotionally mature enough to not let it go and revisit it, like the flowers situation.
I said that Hannah actually looks happy talking to Nick about this apartment in the very beginning. So I'm like trying to track her happiness. And then later they are looking at each other's places, and she is making dinner for her brother and Nick. Nick offers to help. She says, "Can you boil water?" And the drama that ensued after that. Nick, are you for real?
Now he looked in the fridge for the pasta. I was like, does his parents buy like fresh pasta or something? Like,
that's what Sabiyah was wondering. Sabiyah was like, okay, maybe it's like the pre-made that he's looking. Right. But I was like, but then the man was like, but how, up to where should I boil the water? She was just like, let me do it. And I was like, this is how Hannah's are not born. They are created. And they are created by dumb people around them. This Aquarian is like, are you for real right now? I am the water bearer. I have the knowledge. Let me just do it. Sit on down somewhere. What are you doing? I'm like, I can't even be mad. At this point.
I'm just like, you don't like him, and that's fine. Because it's like, he gets on your nerves, and that's okay, right? But I'm like, if you are seriously trying to act like you're going to marry this man, you're not. You do not take him serious.
I don't think she is. I don't think she's brought up marriage as much as like, hey, this is how you live as an adult. I think Hannah's turning into a marshal. This is her project now. And the project is still playing games, because he came in a suit. I think she's calling out that he's acting for the cameras too. She will not let him breathe on that, because he comes out in a suit and stuff. He's like, oh, I got to change. She's cleaning and everything. He comes back in another button up pants. She was like, so you changed into more professional clothes? He was like, yeah, I got work. And she's like, on Zoom. I was like, she was like, don't play for the cameras right now. Like, you have somewhere to be, Mr. Realtor.
Maybe he did.
I don't think he did. And I think Hannah was like, So let's talk about some real financial stuff. Do you know what a stock is? He almost cried by the end of that conversation, because she was like, you are playing some stupid games, not taking out the trash, even though you claim you are. You don't know what a stock is. Like, get your act together.
She knew he was on some BS, but she was in the pods. I mean, Leo wasn't a better choice, but I'm like, it's also
she should have just taken her stuff and go home, but she's also young.
But that's my thing is I'm like, she is so young, like it
That's
gets on
it.
my nerves because I'm like, girl, you knew from jump this man was not for real. You knew that, and like you are trying to convince yourself that the other girls, and it's like, no, you clocked it first.
You actually have great instincts, Hannah.
You
You
do.
are very smart.
You
But I
are.
think at the end, she was like, I want to be on this show. So I'm going to be on this
Exactly.
show. And how dare Hannah's brother, this evil gay, how dare you betray your sister for this man you just met? Have a back. Stand up, little brother. Hannah is mean for a reason. She's still trying to get you to stand up. Because why did you sell her out the minute she walked out? It was just like, yeah, she can't dish what she can't take. No, she can't. But also, she knows.
Exactly. I'm like, he ain't lying.
He ain't lying.
He ain't
He ain't lying. But like these men are so good at lying this season.
I know.
And so the one time we get an honest man, it has to be to sell out Hannah to Nick.
It has to be the homosexual being honest about the truth.
Nah.
I mean,
You better lie on me. If I had a brother going on there, you better lie and say, she's the nice, sweetest thing, isn't she? You've been taking care of her? Like, why is no one protecting Hannah?
I mean, partly probably because the way she's been treating homeboy is how she's literally treated probably her little brother, you know. So he's
but
like,
the parents can't step in.
Parents, yeah, that was a bit wild.
They threw her to the wolves.
But this goes back to Hannah not necessarily feeling like she can rely on her family. Maybe the jealousy thing, like how we were talking about, how Nick's family is one way and hers is another way. Her not having, him not having her back, in that situation kind of is a testament to her feeling like she's always having to get it out of the mud, having to do it on her own. She can't lean, to the people that she feels like she can. And that was, again, cringe. So she has to be able to meet him where he's at and not hold it against him. But he has to grow up.
And this is my thing that I still think is an undercurrent of Hannah and Nick's dynamic, is that I still think she's jealous of him. And one of the jealous things is that he has a support system, because Hannah was cut off financially at 18, had to figure it out. So that's why she's hyper independent, hyper, I think, anxious and aware. I say this as someone who is all of these things. And she's just, it blows her mind that Nick doesn't know how to boil some water. She's like, one thing I know is I'm smarter than you. I might sound like a jerk saying that, but one thing about me, I know I'm smarter than you. And you better not talk back, because I know I'm smarter than you.
She is. Nobody questioned that. But I'm like, ain't nobody questioning that. It's like no one thinks he's like a fucking like MacArthur scholar. Like no one believes that. I see her like
as two air signs. It's like when you see someone who's just dumb and naive, it's like you don't have no thoughts. Well, I have all the thoughts. I'm stressing over here, full of thoughts. And you are just living your life. And you hate to be that hater. But Hannah, she that number one hater. Don't forget, Kendrick's a Gemini. He said, I hate the way that you walk the way.
Like, sir, what? Yeah, it is getting that energy for sure. I guess, also, she also shared with us the way her mom would like literally hide food from her as a child, right? So like,
these people did not support her.
Right. She didn't receive, all this like endless care and support that this man who is older than her continues to receive, right? His parents are paying his phone bill, all of his bills, it sounds like, except for maybe car insurance.
Are you going to start paying that? He said, why would I?
Gagged
her.
It's like, he ain't wrong though. Like I hear her. She's like, because you need to be responsible for yourself. And I'm like, Hannah, also hear him. And like that's one less bill y'all have to pay. Like, we could think of this one or two ways, you know, it's like,
She's
but
not
also
used to it. If you
she's
don't
not.
have parents who support you financially,
Right.
her takeaway is, I mean, we hardly ever turn on our parents and think that they did the
Right.
wrong thing, right? So
Right.
in Hannah's place, it's easier to believe her parents did
Yeah.
the right loving thing for her by
Right.
cutting her off and
It's,
having
yeah.
her figure out all these things. And maybe she thinks it's the loving thing then to give Nick the tough love he's never had and to
Mhm.
tell him to go on his own. That's
Mhm.
as much as these people want to be on TV and say, "Oh my God, you need to like relax. It's all you." It's like, you guys mean to not be relaxed. How about that? How about Hannah stressed out because this is all on her shoulders?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It is. Yeah.
The whole producers are also messy because they had
Yeah.
him stand outside his parents' house like it was an episode of Cribs or something. He's like, "This is my
Mm-hmm.
home. I love my parents. Been here for 2 years." And yeah, so
Yeah.
Hannah, I guess, knew that, but then she was like, I guess her big thing has been, how much do you actually do for yourself because you live at home? Turns out
Yeah.
also Nick is Hispanic, he's Cuban.
Yeah.
So yeah, his mama really is probably
Yeah, that's a cultural thing. Like, you don't have to leave until you really have something to go to, or if you marry, you know what I mean? And even then, sometimes maybe not.
mhm,
Um, so I don't know. I feel like there might be a little bit of a culture difference that's kind of like affecting them. Because
mhm,
I know, like, my dad, he's Jamaican. Like, he often encouraged me and my brothers not to leave the house
mm,
unless we have, like, I went to college and then I went to the Marine Corps, so that I left. But it's not like frowned upon to be, 25, 26, 27 and still be at home, because home is where we're building, and the family, we're all pouring back into each other and everything like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that
yeah,
it is a little bit of a culture shock, but I do feel like because he is a boy, one, and he
yes,
has a prominent mom figure in his life, which could be said about some of my brothers, um, they do get waited on and they do get taken
mhm,
care of. And like, it's a very big, big thing,
mm,
So I empathize with him, but I also know how it could be annoying for a
yeah,
woman that's trying to grow with him. It's like, okay, like, when are you going to be able, if you even can, are you learning from your mom? Are you
mhm.
learning from your dad, or are you taking advantage of your situation?
Mm.
Because it can go both ways.
For
Um,
sure. I
yeah.
mean, there's always a balance, right? Because how
Mhm.
Hannah had to grow up, that was not the greatest either. Saying at 18, you're on your own, you need to start
Yeah.
covering everything. Like,
Yeah.
I think there's still a little bit of jealous there for Hannah to
Yeah.
Nick.
Because she had a traumatic situation and she's like the opposite,
Yeah,
of everything that he is. So
yes.
she's like, hey, man, like, the world is hard. And he's like, what do you mean? My life is great. Like,
Yeah.
look at my mom, look at my house, look at my people. And she's just like, well, I don't have any of that. And I've been on my own, so how are we going to have a merged household? But I
Mhm.
feel like, more communication and just understanding that everybody has different types of problems.
Yeah.
Our last couple, I mean, I could have sworn I saw their wedding already in these episodes.
Right. I mean, I've been a fan of Taylor and Garrett, even though I felt weird about that moment around the
Yeah.
race thing. But they've seemed very strong throughout this. They
Mhm.
have a lot of commonalities, but big differences too. But
Mhm.
it seems like there's both a shared commitment of like, no, I really like this person. I want to make it work. And I'm also being honest about who I am.
For sure.
Because I love them. They're the only ones keeping it together. They're the only ones. Garrett and Taylor are so adorable. I love all of their conversations are just based on, like, just very high level communication, very
Mhm.
accepting. It seems like they kind of already both had their own lives that they're happy with independently. And
Mhm.
so finding each other, it's just been kind of like the icing on the cake. So I'm happy for them, but
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Let's take it back to Cabo though, because this was wild. So this couple's doing just fine, but they're around messy couples because I have to note that freaking Steven uses Garrett as a scapegoat.
Yeah.
Lies on
Yeah.
him because at first I was like, oh my god, maybe Garrett's having cold feet. Like, I don't know why I believe
You're talking
Steven's
about the fireworks situation?
yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I was wondering what was going on. I'm like, did I miss something? Did they cut something out? You know what I'm saying?
He is what I like about this is that, he's willing to move. So I love that for Taylor. She is getting what she wants out of this. And then they look at their social media profile. This is the same thing that happened with Jasmine and Bobby on Love is Blind UK. So it's like this is now becoming a trope. It's a telltale sign if the engaged couple are like, oh, let's look at our social media. They have nothing. They're done. They're going down the aisle.
Got it. That
And
makes
he's
sense.
like fish. The fish boys won. The white fish boys won. Look at him with his black tee and gold chain. She already got him started changing that, switching that up. Crazy work.
Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, my thing is I want to see him straight up tell his family that though. Because he was saying all that like I'm gonna move for her to her and her friends. So I would love for him to be just as direct. But he's clearly having these conversations. I just want to see it.
He's having some frank conversations away from the cameras, which is
He is.
really honestly where he should be having them since he knows he's marrying this woman. He ain't trying to start this off on any bad foot. I appreciated the conversation that they have later, but for here, also another telltale sign for Love is Blind. If they meet all the family, they're getting married. And look at this. Everyone's here. Everyone. She just surrounded. Damn.
She really is. It's kind of, and I'm like,
And the mom is on verge of tears the whole entire time. And this was wild. I mean, was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
It really, I don't know what I was expecting. It was a little terrifying. I'm like, why are they all surrounding her like this? I'm like, aren't they kind of off in the cut? You know, I'm just like, is she okay? But yeah, I mean, she seemed very comfortable though, and like was very measured in how she was like giving them the download on how much they loved each other. So I'm like, if she likes it, I love it.
So yeah, the family is just like, you seem like you have a good head on your shoulders. This just seems so fast. Like, I think the mom literally says, I hate this timeline. Like, I hate this show. I was like, I'm just imagining the freaking cameraman just walk close in on his mama's face, and his mama's like, I hate this. And they're like, yeah. Can you say that again? I couldn't catch it on the mic.
Oh my
God. So ridiculous. So yeah, but it looks like it's gonna happen. Taylor also said her family was also very against being on, but she was like, no, mama, papa, I really am getting married, so you really do have to make this work. So we're gonna meet her parents maybe in the next drop.
Yeah, and her mom does not seem to be a fan, which is valid. I'm like, whenever parents and family are just like, this timeline is really wild, I'm like, it's valid. But as long as you're not mean, right? Because some of these parents, I'm like, you're taking a bit overboard, like, are you actually giving this person a fair shot? But yeah, her mom's energy in that preview.
We'll see. We've been bamboozled before because Alexandra and Tim's whole meeting of the family went well. Now, I will say I'm more worried about Garrett's family, and I'll stay more worried because this was weird. Like, we have this conversation. I think this conversation is supposed to be a red herring, obviously, because they're so obviously getting married. But like, basically, Garrett tears up. He's like, yeah, I just really need your dad's approval. You're gonna get it. Like, we've never not gotten it. And Taylor's like, I appreciate you telling me that you're kind of really going through it with your family who are like, why are you going across the country for this woman? But it's like, she works in DC. They're gonna be back at least once a year. I did think of her basement apartment. I was like, this is such a just when I'm in town place.
It is. It is.
Minimal clothes. The bed's set though. There's boxes in another room. It's like, to be that rich, to have just a place for when you're in town.
And she said it was her friend's place, right?
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, it's definitely one of those rooms is used as storage by the owner of that home. So
for sure. Anything else we want to say about Taylor and Garrett? I loved how they came together to support Monica. That's pretty much it. We're still on the bit that Garrett's moving to San Diego. So, California boy, city boy.
When he was like, actually, it's a beach metropolis, I was like,
yo.
Okay,
I was
nerd.
like, don't do this. Don't do this. Quantum is actually very small. And all of her friends are like, ooh, you got a nerd talking nerdy back to you. What you gonna do?
Right. She said, I'm taking him to San Diego with me. Duh.
Duh. We're gonna get some nice flowing locks next time you see him. Duh.
Like, okay, bundles.
I mean, is there anything else you wanted to say about any of these couples?
No, I'm looking forward to the next drop. They gave us some juiciness with this one. Yeah.
What is your chaotic bye moment of this episode? Or drop?
Let me see if this drop. I mean, to me, it has to be the stocks conversation.
Yeah.
With Hannah and Nick, and she's like, you gotta invest your stocks, and he's like, what about sports? It's like, sir, are you 5? Like,
literally a child, literally. But like, sports is his whole life, to be fair. Like, his mom literally was like, sports was our priority growing up.
It was
his dream. So that's just what it's giving. Do you have a beautiful black moment?
I mean, it was cute, I guess. I mean, I'm a little concerned with all of Tim's like London, England talk, but whatever. But it was cute when he was like naming these things, and her dad also like was like, "Oh, me too." That was cute. Them bonding.
For sure. I also wrote down Alexandra's dad giving Tim his approval, like the whole letter and everything. I think was really, really sweet. But also, I'm like, would love a sentimental moment like that between Tim and Alexandra.
That would be great.
They give I can see them getting married, but they give spouses who have friendship as the basis rather than romantic love, which honestly could outlast the other. But it's also like, you starting off like this, like we couldn't have like 2 days in Cabo, like Ramses and Alexandra. She was having a time. It was none of that. I was like, oh, okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, we tried.
Did we? Actually, was there even any try? How are y'all beefing in Cabo? Where's Cabo?
I know. All right. But then I'm still thinking about it. Like, he said, or she said, she was missing home. I really do wonder, it was also stressors of home, right? Like, we've literally seen that, I think, with we just talked about, what's his name, Marshall, his partner. She freaked out on the trip because she was like, I have people to take care of and stressors and stuff. Like, these women are going through a lot, and we actually never get to hear about it until they boil over.
Literally. But also it's making me think about like, yeah, there are these women of color, Black women who are experiencing this. It's like they're at a vacation and they can't even enjoy it because they're stressed about home. But then also simultaneously you have men like the two Stevens, Steven from this season and Steven from Love is Blind UK, who are living it up, building
Living
whole
it
fairy tales to
up.
their spouses or to their partners. And then they get back to their real life and they're like, oh, I'm not going to buy you flowers. I'm not going to even speak on the phone with you, even though I don't get to see you.
These men are actors.
Actors.
Yeah, like
Um,
honestly, like I feel like we definitely are getting our money's worth with this season. You know, like they're super, super like chaotic, beautiful Black moment. I would say Ashley, we just talked about her and her dad and their
mhm.
relationship and stuff like that. I definitely feel like that was a big thing for her in the pods that she kept reiterating. And Tyler was, oh, I can't wait to meet your dad, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? So seeing it happen, it was kind of beautiful, even though he's a lying piece of,
We
it was
also
beautiful
had
because we stand, I mean, daughter daddy relationships in the Black community. We
for
stand those.
sure.
So yeah.
For sure. I will actually give my beautiful Black moment to Tim and Alexandra. We didn't get to talk
Okay.
much about them.
Yeah. They had a fight and everything. I'm glad that they recovered from
Mhm,
it. It just seemed like Alexandria kind of got a little bit high into the right, and Tim was not having it.
mhm.
But it's always good to see them go through real issues and be able to bounce back in the way that they did. So that's good. I feel like
Yeah.
that's, yeah, like a check in the box for their relationship, kind of. Even though you don't want those things to happen, you can find out everything you need to know about a person
Mhm.
in those situations. So
Yeah.
I
And
like their personalities too.
I will say them having that meeting right before the
Yeah.
actual meeting, because her parents
Hmm.
have MS and everything, that
Yeah.
gave their team, and that
Yeah.
gave me thinking they're actually going to get married.
I loved it. And I mean, this is also bringing like awareness to MS, which is a horrible, disease. I've had, my close friend's mom, she had it, and it's well has it, and it's
Mhm.
really crazy. So I'm glad that it's bringing awareness to such a like specific thing. A lot of people don't even know what it is, but yeah, seeing them kind of come together for her family and stuff like that was beautiful.
Yeah.
So you're right. I can give you that. Maybe yours is a little bit better than mine. But yeah,
All right.
they look
So,
cute
Maya, where
together.
they do, they do. I
Yeah,
like
that's
it.
another thing. Like it's rare kind of that I feel like the couples just naturally complement each other, like how much Alex and Tim do. Their
Mhm.
personalities, their banter, the way that they joke. They just look cute in general. They look
Mhm.
like they're already a couple or like they met each other legitimately, not like in the show. Same
Yeah.
thing with Tyler and Ashley, which is sad. They just look cute
Mhm.
together, but we're not gonna go back there. But yeah.
No.
All right.
All right, Sabaya, where can people follow you if they want to hear more of your opinions or just want to see what you're up to?
Oh, you can follow me on Instagram at underscore the solar poppy, soul like your soul. Um, and that's pretty much it. I mean, Sabiyah Broderick, if you type it in on all social media platforms, it'll pop up.
All right. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you for joining us. Where can people follow you, Quita?
You can follow me on Instagram at hello_Quita. And I'm starting a new podcast. So stay tuned for whenever I record. I'm working in my other job, my full-time day job. So
Yeah.
yeah, but soon.
And thank you guys for watching and for listening to the Black White Reality Podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for all of the comments and watching last drop. I hope you guys enjoy this one. And next week, we are going to be joined with Katura Tops of Survivor. And we'll see if we're on our own or having a guest for the finale. We got a reunion coming, which I never doubted. Why do they always wait? I'm just like, I know you're going to have one. That's
Exactly.
a huge event. But yeah, and other than that, we are wrapping up Big Brother 26. I am going to come back with an interview with the winner, runner up, and we're still continuing our Survivor recaps. this week I talked to Katura about episode 4, and that was really fun. So that's about it, guys. Bye. What was your thought process? And this man refused. He couldn't even give her that.